Welcome to the program, man.
Thank you for having me.
How did you get into acting?
Well,
Uh-oh.
I guess the big start was my actual first roles. I guess started in my church.
Yeah.
My church has a drama ministry.
Oh, okay.
And they sometime they would do like. Oftentimes, I think we did a lot of original works, stuff that other members would write. And I was written into one, or I was given a part in one where it was a real small role, but I had it was like The Devil's Day in Court was the name of the play, and I was just one of the poor people who the devil had been picking on that day.
Yeah.
At one point in the play, and that was my first role. But I'd say I'd wanted to do acting since I was probably tiny. Since I was tiny, I remember in fourth grade. I think it was about third or fourth grade. I watched Bad Boys with Martin Lawrence and Will Smith in it, and I was like, man, I really want to be a cop. But then I realized, I was like, very shortly after that, another day at school, I was like, you know what? I don't want to be a cop because they get shot at. But if I could play a cop, then it's all fake bullets and it's okay. I'll be able to go home alive at the end of the day. So that was pretty much my start there. And from there, I took a hiatus for a little while. We didn't have much going on at the church in regards to drama that I was involved in for a little while, especially with school and things.
Sure.
So by the time I got to college again, I had been it felt like I was almost still brand new to it.
Right.
Audition came up for the theater season in my last year there, and was like, what the heck, go for it. I mean, you never know if you don't try.
Sure.
And went in, and I was cast in the main stage production of Elephant's Graveyard that LSU's theater department was doing. So I was blessed to have that experience, and then
that's pretty well. So, do you consider yourself actor, singer, dancer, or all those?
Actor, singer, dancer. I would say, I would say I am a singer first.
Okay.
Singer first, based on experience and the fact that I got a degree in it. Let's make that degree worth something. Let's do that.
Right.
The rest I would say are definite. I'd say singer would come first, then we'd go actor and dancer. Those I've probably had equal share of training. In. Like not much formal training in regards to dancing at all. It's just kind of, I see it. I see if I can do it.
Right.
If we can, yes. If not, we modify. In acting, I had a couple of classes in my last 2 years at LSU.
So singer. So when did you start singing?
When did I not? That would be the question. When did I not sing?
Did you sing in the cradle?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a funny story. My mom tells me that when she was pregnant with me, she went to see a Kenny G concert. At and she said she went and saw it, had a great time, and when she got back home, she said that for like the next 30 minutes to like an hour, after she sat down, I was just like twirling and rolling around in there for 30 minutes to an hour. She was like, I don't know what it was, but music has just been something that is embedded in you.
Right.
So by the time I turned 3, she put me in the church choir there, and I was singing in that all the way through graduation, all the way through my graduation and going to college. I sang in my school's choir from. I was in band 6th grade, but then 7th and 8th grade with choir. Missed 9th grade, and then in high school did the whole thing. So I've been. The question is when have I not been singing, man? It's all the time, in the shower, in the car, everywhere, man.
So, do you get your singing chops from your mom or your dad, or both?
Actually, both. Yeah,
really?
Both of them were singers. My dad sang a lot in his church. Yep. My grandparents were pastors, and my granddad was a pastor, and my grandma was the musician for the church as well. So my dad talks about all the time how him and his brothers and sisters were like, the four of them were the choir a lot of the time. So he sang a lot in there. My mom also did the same. She sang in her church. Awesome. In fact, she killed me for saying it because she hates this compliment, but I think she sounds a lot, and whenever her hair is like curled up, she reminds me of Whitney Houston like all the time. She reminds
Why does she like that reference?
I don't know what it is. She said that she used to get it all the time when she goes to, like, when she was younger and she goes to the club, that people were like, hey girl, you look like Whitney Houston. And she'd be like, really? Like, she did. I was like, wow, man.
Well, it's kind of weird. 'Cause I like Whitney, but I do find people either love her or hate her. There's no in between.
That's literally, and the funny thing is, my mom likes her as an artist, has lots of her CDs, but you won't call her Whitney. She doesn't. No,
That's
doesn't
weird.
approve.
That's wild.
I was like, confusing. I was like, I don't understand why you would not like that compliment. If somebody came up to me and was like, hey man, they could say I sound like Aaron Neville, and that is not my favorite, but I'm going to be like, you know what?
Hey, I'll take it.
He's famous. I'll take it. Thank you very much.
I'll take it. Oh my goodness. That's wild. So, singing's always been in the shop. You kind of got it. We said you always wanted to act, though. But why didn't you get into it earlier?
Performance has been in me. So whatever it may have been. Even when I was young, in 4th grade or so, and I'd watch that, when I watched that movie and decided, I'm going to be an actor, I didn't know the venues to really do so.
Sure. Yeah.
I knew that we had school plays.
Yeah.
And when we were in the school plays,
Right.
I definitely attempted to, like, anytime there was a special role of some sort, I always auditioned for it.
Right.
I had a couple here or there, but I didn't know how to get into real acting. To me, that didn't seem like real acting. Those little school plays, I was like, well, this is like stuff for your mom and dad. Like, they're gonna just pick people so we look super cute. Well, I understood
that's true a lot.
I understood that even as a young kid. I was like, I understand this is mom and dad fan service here.
Yeah. Oh, this is so good. They're so cute.
This is for the mamarazzi, the mom and paparazzi right there. So I was like, outside of that, I talked to my parents about it occasionally, but not enough.
Right.
So I started to a certain degree to take certain performance aspects into my own hands. Mm-hmm. I think around end of 4th grade and 5th grade, I tried to become a comedian so I could get. I was writing down jokes in this little notebook. Half of them were stolen from someplace I'd heard before, but nonetheless, it was an attempt to try and create that venue. Yes. To try and go from, all right, well, maybe if I take this step, Will Smith is funny, so I was like, he probably was a comedian first. Yeah. Someone heard him, and then they put him in a movie. Right. That was my connection. Yeah. So I was like, okay, that works. Yeah. Then after a while, when I realized that was just terribly difficult, writing jokes in 4th grade is beyond hard. Beyond hard. So I was like, okay, maybe I don't know how to do that just yet, so I'll just put that on the back burner. Music was something I was always pretty good at. People were like, I noticed it got attention, so I focused on that for a long time. And it gave me some venues for acting. In high school, we did a nice, we did pop shows all the time, and whenever someone needed, like, even if it was just a more of a pantomime, I didn't have to actually speak. Right. You need a person to be a prop. Let me do it. Let me do that. And I remember we did. I was in a young lady saying "I Will Survive," and I just pretty much pantomimed as like the boyfriend who's desperately trying to get her back, and she's like, "No, thank you. I don't need you anymore." I did that. There was I can't remember what musical it's from, but there's a song entitled "Single Man Drought," and they needed to. I can't remember the musical to save my life. Right. But in the scene that we shot for it, the young lady's having a date, and it's a really, really bad date. So the song describes how basically she's been in this drought with like really terrible dates. So I dressed in this like plaid shirt, overalls, bow tie, and I'm talking with this really, really high pitched voice, and I took any opportunity to do so. It was just finally when I got to college is when I finally saw, hey, this is a legit production that's being put on, and they're asking for open casting. Not that high school didn't offer it. There was a theater program, but I didn't know that we could intermix like that. Right. And even in college, it seemed very separate until my last year when I was taking a 5th year anyway. I had to fill up some space. So I was like, let's go for it. See what happens. Wow. Audition, got it, and was just truly blessed from that point. I was just thankful to God. I was like, hey, you get. I mean, maybe there's some hope out there for being able to chase this after a while. So,
you went to LSU, right?
Yes, sir.
Great
Proud
school.
Tiger.
Yeah. So, why LSU?
LSU, at the time, there was no real preference for me when it came to college. I was like, they're all one and the same in my opinion.
Right.
And I just didn't do enough research into them mostly. So when I was looking to get my degree, I was trying to find something secure, and something I enjoyed. Music I'd been doing forever. Choir was also there, so I was like, choir director, that is it. I know that's probably what I want to, what I'm going to do.
Right.
That's what I told myself. I'm going to do that. But I didn't exactly know what places to go to. I applied to U of H and I applied to SAM. They were close by.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to go and see something different.
Sure.
I wanted to go and experience something other than Houston.
Right.
I've been here pretty much all my life, from about age of 3 on. So I was like, it's time to see something else.
Yeah.
Teachers pointed me in the direction of LSU, a voice teacher and my choir director. They said, this is the school. Like, if you want to go, if you're wanting to go and become a music educator, this would be the school to go
Seriously?
to. Oh,
Wow.
the program is wonderful. Wonderful program. Amazing professors. I got to work with Dr. Fulton out there, Ken Fulton, Dr. Sarah Bartolome, who else? Dr. Pamela Pike, Dr. Lori Beatty for voice instruction. Just so many great things I was able to learn out there and experience. So that's one decision that I will not regret ever. So just for all the kids out there, LSU is the place to go.
Go Tigers.
You know, a little public service announcement there, commercial. So.
Well, actually, let's talk about that too, because we've got a lot of people, cast members that are leaving for college. What would you tell them? After you've experienced college, what would you tell them to help them along their way? Either picking college, being in college.
Make sure you're aware of the illusion of college.
The illusion?
Yeah, there are many illusions in college. I worked as an RA, and this is a conversation I had many times with incoming students who were living in the areas where I was. And everyone usually has the best intentions, but media and things to that nature can spin based on the way you see college and the way you hear about it.
Right.
I feel that young people have a kind of misconception as to what college is truly about when they get there. Hence, in my first year, hence why you meet so many people when you first get there, and by the time the semester ends and you start your second, some of those people are already are gone home.
Yep.
Then by the end of the first year, lots of them are sent home because grades are no longer the important thing. So what I mean by the illusion is the illusion of freedom. Everyone's been pumped into their head that college is this place where you have so much freedom, so much freedom, so much freedom. When, in my opinion, as you grow, that freedom is actually a lot less than what you thought. You actually become more and more attached to things. Well, the thing is, you are free.
Yes.
To do what you please. In theory.
Yes.
But nothing has changed.
Right.
When you get there, just like you had to get up and go to school 7 in the morning, yes, your mom was there to do so. Now it's just it's your duty to now wake you up and wake yourself up and now go. Your mom may have kept you from going to parties when you were younger. That rule still sits in place. You shouldn't party on a Tuesday night.
Especially for our final.
Right. Mom wasn't crazy. Now, are you free to choose and go to a party on Tuesday night? Yes, you are. But again, it's an illusion.
Yes.
You still have to understand that, yes, Tuesday night is not the best night, especially when I've got 7 a.m. class. Right. Probably should not be going out. Right. There are lots of things that I think about the college culture in itself. Kids see as this is what we're supposed to do. Right. This is how you're supposed to. And my biggest advice would be learn to see through the illusion. Know what's real. The real thing is that you still have the exact same expectation and responsibilities that you had before you got there.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. And after that, then it's about experiencing what you can. Utilize college for what it's there for. Take time if you want to learn about this, learn about it. If you're thinking about, well, hey, I've always enjoyed doing film. If they got a film class you can take it.
Yeah.
Experience as much as you can, because once you're out of there, you're out.
Oh yeah.
You're out for a wee bit until you decide to go back. And the thing is, you'll kick yourself from all the things that you should have done.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
Absolutely.
some of the things that you'll be 30 going, man, I wonder if I would have been good at doing
Right.
this instead of this profession. Well, you never
Don't
know
know.
until you check it out.
So how did college change you? Or did it?
It did. It did in a lot of ways. I've always been very. I feel one of the blessings God gave me was to be able to truly connect or I guess connect with people's experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what feeds my being, needing to be in some type of connection with other people.
Right.
I learn a lot based on someone else's experience.
Yes.
When people taught me as a youngster to put yourself in someone else's shoes,
Right. Mm-hmm.
for me, that became like a lifelong set of words to follow, phrase to follow. And when I did it fully. So in other words, oftentimes when you try to explain something to someone, when someone is explaining their situation to you, we manage to get ourselves halfway into their shoe, I guess you can say. We never take the shoehorn and plug ourselves completely in it. Mm-hmm. We put ourselves in enough to see the experience surface level, but
Right.
not enough to try and figure out their mindset through there.
Okay.
For me, when I hear about your life, when I hear about what you're going through, my thought is not, I immediately try and sit myself into your shoes completely. I put the shoehorn, and my brain is now trying to figure out, I'm going to ask you the questions that I need to figure out what your thought processes are.
Right.
What type of things do you believe? So that way I'm seeing it as close to
Right.
through your eyes as I possibly can.
Right.
College for me gave me that opportunity in so many ways. The different people I came into contact with, being able to see people whose struggles were similar to mine,
Right.
see those who were very different from mine, seeing those who were of the highest achievement level,
Right.
seeing those of the lowest achievement level, and understanding, helping me to be able to understand just how connected all of us truly are.
Right.
Like the funny thing is, like it's very quick for us to say, well, this kid didn't pass this, or they go out and drink all the time, and
Right.
there's something. This person is a bad person for that.
Right.
Until you actually sit down in that regard and you start to think about how they felt, how they thought. Then you start to see, well, geez, I may have been one decision away from being that kid.
Right.
I may have been one drink away from being that kid. I may have been one grade higher. There may have been one thing that could have gone on at my past
Right.
that could have made me that person.
Wow.
I think we forget how quickly, or how easily things can change
Right.
just based on what life has given us.
Absolutely.
There's so much that we're not in control of.
Oh, yeah.
So even talking to that person who may say, "Oh, well, I made my way here. I made this way
Right.
there." When I hear how they describe this, that, and the other, and they're saying, "Yes, I made it this way," but I'm also able to see, well, you said that this person taught you here. This person that it helps. Like I can understand where they are, but I also see where certain, like, I can plug in some
Right.
holes too that are not
Right.
there. And it's the same thing when I told my story to other people,
Right.
or when they see how I act on a daily basis. It
Right.
was another great thing, just seeing the interaction between people, how certain things change with this person,
Right.
and we're not two-dimensional creatures, and I outside of just the physical, but
Right.
there is a lot going on
Yeah.
with people. And the thing is, we don't always get that venue
Right.
to see people in different lights.
Sure.
So that was the biggest experience. I learned lots about music. I learned lots about other classes, but that in itself was what I felt college was truly about.
Really? So it sounds like You have this empathic ability. Did you always have that as a kid, or does that just kind of develop more in college because of all the different experiences, the rich experiences you have available to you?
I think it was something that developed even before college.
Right.
It was one of those things that I just, for me, it's a very important thing to understand. I was raised Christian, and one of the big things that I live by was the golden rule.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Even when I was little, I used to try. I was like, you've got to treat other people the way you want to be treated. But the only way I felt that you could do that,
right,
is you have to fully understand. You have to You have to actively, and this is something I feel that we all need to do. We've got to work a lot harder at. Mm-hmm. Every day, you have to actively be working to see things in that light. Right. It's a lot easier for me to forgive you for hitting me in the face right now. Right. If I actually am thinking or attempting to think about why you might have wanted to hit me in the face, and not in the same selfish way that a lot of times we do. Right. For instance, if you did hit me in the face right now, your first correction, if I hit you in the face correctly right now, your first thought is not going to be, let me step back and think as to why he would have wanted it. Right. And that's human nature. Right. I'm not faulting us for that. But I'm saying our brains are wonderful mechanisms. Yes. But we don't use them for what they fully are. Like, we've got to learn to sometimes just take that step back, visualize something, and that's what helps me to fuel the idea of being able to treat other people the way you want to be treated. Wow. It's just interesting because this tactic, you think about it, in negotiations, if you do it right and you're not using manipulation tactics, then usually it's trying to understand where they're coming from. You can kind of come maybe closer to each other, bridge those gaps. Right. And I will definitely. It's funny you brought up manipulation because that's. It's on. The funny thing is, there's a fine line when you're starting to think between when you're trying to think for the other person. You very quickly can swerve into the point of manipulating. Right. I've experienced it, and I can almost guarantee you I've probably done it. Right. Where you've toyed with, you're attempting to think like they are in order to get your own personal gain. Because you have a certain goal in mind. Right. And I hate that feeling more than anything. Right. If you want me to come do this, and you've seen how I think, and now you're trying to twist things to where now, and I can tell it's happening, but it's kind of hard to fight it off at that point. That's not what I want to do. No. I want to understand where you're coming from to where I can make sure that I'm giving you, that I am putting you in the same position I would want to be in. Mm-hmm. I don't want to pressure you. Imagine if we were applying for a job. Right. I would not want to get into your head so that way I can make you come work for me. If I'm going to if I'm trying to figure out how you're thinking, it's so I can say, you know what, perhaps this isn't where you would want to be at. Right. But I can help you to go, if you want to do this still, I know a place where you should go. Because we should be looking out for everyone else's best interest the same way we would look for our own. Sure. Well, this is interesting because that is mentioned exactly when you learn Dale Carnegie techniques. Is that you learn about, this kind of empathic way of how people think, but they say this can very easily become manipulation tactics. Oh, that's not what we're pushing. Yeah, it's right on the border. I think they're very closely related. Right. I mean, it's unfortunate, but well, that's exactly where they seem to sit. I mean, it's. I just think that's a huge thing that I hope to, even as like a teacher, I hope to instill to my students things of that nature. So that way, it just helps. I think all of us can be able to live a much more peaceful existence if we can start thinking on that level, and we're all a lot more enjoyable to be around. Well, we hope so. Yeah, at least we try, right? So you get out of college. What do you do in real life? Graduated a year ago. Walking out, my thought was grad school. Let's do this. Yeah. Then I was like, not so much. Went back to see an old teacher of mine. Yeah. He said there was a job opening. Put my name in, and now I teach at Waller Junior High School. I'm the head choir director there and the assistant choir director at Waller High School.
You know, those positions, especially arts positions in any schools, are hard to come by.
Yeah,
You don't know how lucky you. You know, it's like, oh yeah, hey, we got this position here.
it's
Those are tough to come by.
you're absolutely correct. It's a tough thing. One, in the sense that some arts positions, in general, teaching positions, are positions that oftentimes are long lasting. I mean, it's secure.
Yes.
So people get in there and it's like they sit and they set up. They're
Yeah,
good.
right.
So you're like, well, I've been dying to teach at that school forever,
But
that person is probably not going anywhere for a while. So I mean, longevity is one, and then two, arts programs, unfortunately, they can be on the chopping block.
Yeah.
I will say that Texas does a very good job, especially when it comes to their arts programs, of making sure that it's that they are well kept and they're
Really?
in schools. Yeah.
it's kind of. I'm also from Texas schools too, but I would not.
Oh, good.
I would not have thought that.
Well, now, granted, this is also in comparison to being able to see, like the things I saw also in Louisiana.
Oh,
Like
which is very different. Yes.
yeah, I mean, there were a lot of
Same.
things that, comparison-wise, I
Yes.
felt that
Okay.
I felt very blessed for
Sure.
what Texas has been
Understand.
doing. Now, granted, it may be different depending on. I also grew up in a very metropolitan area too,
Right.
so there's a lot more leeway here or there, and also it could also be just depending on
Yeah,
the
school
demographics.
districts.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
demographics
yeah.
of your area. Well, I
Right.
mean, what really feeds
Sure.
feeds for that school. But those two things there. It makes it hard to come by. So I was very fortunate
Yes.
to have the blessing that I did in finding that job, and
Oh, yeah.
been there 1 year. Here comes year two.
You made 1 year. That's a fine.
Oh yeah,
That's a good thing.
I survived. I
survived.
survived. A couple of cuts and bruises. But we're all right.
Let's talk about transition from college to real life. And I say that because I know that it's a big change. Before, you had all your time pretty much taken up, or you could add, there were groups, there were all kind of activities
Right.
at college. You come, get into the real life, and all of a sudden, you've got all this time on your hands, potentially.
It's
You got to make a new set of friends. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
yeah,
It's a whole adjustment.
You're right. I mean, I remember trying to in my brain trying to like catalog the transition just from like high school as you're going through college.
Right.
Like how things just kind of fade out of existence to a degree.
Right.
People you were so close to.
Yes.
Your first year, oh yeah, you come back for summertime. Everybody's like, hey, let's visit. How's this going? Second year in the college, that next summer and that next school year, you're talking to some people occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
Most people you haven't really heard back from, or you haven't responded to them. You just kind of like time gets away from you. Third, fourth year happens. There's a small few that you still connect with. In my case, where I left and then came back to where I grew up, I've never felt so lost in a familiar place.
Yes. Yes. I understand.
You come back and you know everything, but you don't at the same time.
Trying to find your place.
Right.
But it's different now that
Oh
you're
yeah,
an
yeah.
adult.
Yeah. You walk into a store and you're like, hey, I remember such and such used to work
Right.
here, and then you walk in, but no one looks exactly like you don't see the same people.
Right.
You walk into your neighborhood and you remember, oh yeah, I thought such and such lived there, but no, they
Right.
don't live there anymore. Or even the drastic change. When did that building get there?
Right.
I don't remember that. So it plays a lot of tricks on your mind, and that's when you start to add up the years. Like the 4 years you were in school didn't seem that long until you come, and then you're like, geez, was that much change within 4 years? And then you get in play. You're right. There's so many things that you were involved with in terms of just like leisure things,
Right.
or even just college gives you a lot of opportunity to be involved in so many different
Right.
things. And when you come out and you get into you're in the real world,
Yes.
quote unquote, it's how do you kind of feel lost about getting into those things. There's no flyers. There's not as many flyers, should I say, anymore about, hey, we're doing this community service thing. You should
Right.
come to this. Hey, we're going to just watch a movie on in the park tomorrow. Those
Like
don't
being a freshman again.
right. Yeah, it literally is. Like you have your freshman year happens a couple of times in
Yes,
a
in
lot
your
of
life.
places.
Yes, it
Like
does.
so you're really just trying to find ways to buy time, especially because you don't want to wind up going back to, well, nothing to do when I get home. I'll just
Right. Watch TV, which
the
is
TV
boring
and
as
just
all
sit
get
here.
out.
Yeah, like
You know, the hardest thing for us when we got out of college, we started to get active in the community college that was there because they did plays and stuff like that. But the hardest thing we had was understanding angst. Because your teenage angst, as you're coming out of high school, college, it's not like you didn't experience it.
yeah.
It's just you're not there anymore,
You know,
It's not the same. And so it's like, maybe the empathy would help again, but you're like, yeah, I remember what that was like. When
you attempt as a teacher. I've been trying to group like going into teaching. You think you've got it in the bag. You just and then like with me being someone who's just always sought to understand people, and really I was like, yeah, this will be pretty. I'll be able to get into their minds a little bit, and then we'll be able to reason because they'll understand and every. Man, I can't tell you how many times I've been in front of like my middle schoolers, and there's somebody's having this episode today where they don't feel like doing this, and I'm like I understand, but I don't understand. Like I don't get what's going on with you today. Could you please? There's been many conversations that are like, okay, I understand you're having a bad day.
Yeah.
And I do feel for I do feel for you. But in life, Mr. Owens doesn't have a good day either. But you still have to come in and do what's going. No, I'm not. Okay, well, all right. I just need you to sit over there. Then just take that time for yourself because I don't know what to do. I'm attempting to understand. I do empathize, and I'm going to try and give you some leeway. But you've got to work with me somewhat. Like random, just angry today.
Right.
Or the random. The worst is the apathy.
Right.
The random apathy moment.
Right.
I don't know what to do. 'Cause it's like, are you okay? Yeah. But you're not doing anything. Yeah. Okay. Carry on. Like, it's baffling. Yeah.
Oh dear.
It's a hard thing to get over or to get around, but
Oh my goodness.
you get to it.
I know.
You get through it.
So, who are your favorite singers?
Stevie Wonder is probably my number one.
Mm-hmm.
Great body of work, not only for his vocal talent and instrumental skills, but everything. His vision.
Mm-hmm.
No jabs at him, but his vision of his vision of what's going on in the world,
right,
and how he places it,
right,
into his music. It's still catchy, it's still fun to listen to, but so enriching in terms
right,
of what we need to hear.
Right.
On the opposite end of that, not necessarily completely opposite, but a little more on the liberal edge of that, would also be Prince.
Does he come back to it? Because I remember when he used to be Prince, and then he changed his name to we could ever figure out what the heck that was.
Prince in all categories. Prince, the symbol, the
awesome
artist
talent.
formerly known. Yeah, it's just
Awesome talent.
Awesome talent, and again, his body of work. Him and Michael Jackson both. Michael Jackson would be up there as well. They showed me, and I think they showed any other musician. The most important thing I took away from their careers, on top of they also spoke about great things at times as well. But the biggest thing was not being contained to a box. Prince has got music that I would say ranges from blues to rock to R&B. Feel like Michael Jackson the same way. Certain things that sound very hip hop esque, R&B esque, rock. And when I looked at that body of work, it showed me that it was like it was almost like a musical destruction of stereotypes. I saw in these artists, especially as African American artists. When I saw them, I remember being little and thinking to myself that black people don't listen to rock music. But then you think, oh, there's Hendrix, man, and he played
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, are they outside of the norm? Are they just like anomalies? No, they're not anomalies. They just didn't believe in just holding to this one frame. Right. Just because I'm this doesn't mean I have to be that. They were they were my representation of. Sure, that people have expectations of what you're supposed to be. That don't mean you have to do it.
Right.
You can do what you please. So those three would be my big musical influences, right? The largest. Where I mean, those are the ones that if they're probably the ones that get the most listening to out of like all and the mountains of people I listen to a lot. Yeah, those are the influences there, man. Yeah. Awesome.
So, where have you been? Like traveled to? Do you like to travel or?
Oh man, I've definitely developed a bit of a wanderlust. I've been. When I was younger, we took a few trips to some places. I've been I traveled to San Antonio a lot. My family is actually from there. My mom and dad are both from there. So we traveled there a lot. I've traveled to Atlanta, Georgia. I have an aunt who lives in New York, upstate New York. Right. I've been to upstate New York in Elmira. I've been to New York City. I've been to Los Angeles. I have been to Denver, Colorado, New Orleans, a couple of other small towns amongst Louisiana, just for various trips. A couple of small towns even here in Texas. I've been to South Padre, Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
Eureka Springs,
yeah. And, I say a big one. Everyone's expecting, like, what city will this be? Nope, Eureka Springs, Arkansas. But I tell you, that probably was one, for me, that was a very, very inspirational, trip. And I think upon being there, I was just able to be very uplifted.
Right.
Small town atmosphere where everyone where so many people were living like stars to a degree. You don't expect to go into a small town like that and to see the shows put on the way that they were put on.
Oh no, there's awesome stuff, right?
Great stuff coming out of there. Hilarious shows. And I mean, all clean, very family.
Yeah.
And when I say that, you see the same person who did this show, who's doing this show for you that you went and paid to see, and this, then you go back the next day, like during the day that day, you see this guy working at the little steel mill down there cutting it, or he's working as a blacksmith. Right. I was like, there was something so awesome about being amongst that. Again, being able to experience, or at least from a second-hand perspective, being able to experience what life was like there, and to see this guy is doing everything he chased his dream. Sure, he may not be in the big lights of New York, Hollywood, and maybe if I got a chance to talk to him some more, he might still have dreams of being at that point. But I was like, he's not just he got to be beyond simple blacksmith here. He said, "Hey man, I always wanted to do some performance." They made it happen. Like, that town is proof, is like living, breathing proof that you can create your own success. I can imagine.
This is the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah,
it's the middle of nowhere.
My mind takes me back to before Branson, Missouri was Branson. Before Eureka Springs, Arkansas was Eureka Springs. Before they were known for someone. Someone there had a thirst, a hunger, a real hunger for something bigger, something better. Yeah. Didn't see the way out of it. Right. So they decided, what's to stop us from doing that here? And I wish I could see the trial and error stage, the tears that were cried before, because this isn't at the place where I want it to be just yet.
Well, I'm curious, how did they market the place? My sister did her honeymoon there, and she loved it. She says, "You've got to go there."
It's
like,
awesome.
how the hell do you get there? You drive for hours and hours.
Oh yes, the drive was brutal. I was like, "Oh my gosh, when will we get off this bus?" You're riding up and down these hill country and it's a beautiful, beautiful hill country, like hills and mountains.
But still,
but you're still like, this
enough already.
Like you feel like you're going to Deliverance. You're like, oh my, it's just dun 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 dun. You're like, oh, we're about to get stranded, and it's gonna be a problem, guys. It's gonna be a real problem in a couple of minutes. But you get, but I mean, and that's the thing. The marketing, I think.
Yeah.
I wonder. I can almost bet it was just, you know what? As time moved, as those tears were being shed, as those triumphs were being happening, as they would shed, take them back to the drawing board, they built. And I bet you a lot of the marketing initially was word of mouth.
Well, probably was.
You had someone who stopped in there.
I had a great time. You have to go.
Right. Someone stops in, car broke down. I have to stay here for the night. So what can I do around here? Well, we put on this little show thing.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. This person goes on, tells someone. I can imagine the years it took before that place built up. But for that place to be like a Mecca, a Las Vegas, a LA, a New York, in the middle of nowhere, I was like, if this can happen in a small place like that, all you need is vision and a community that's willing to back and push it.
Right.
There's small town lifestyle, having a group of people in small towns that are pushing toward the same. That is something that you miss when you're in a big place like this.
That is true. No,
and I was like, that is an awesome thing to see. A community that's all about each other. That place touched me, man. I can't lie.
Oh my goodness, that's true. You do get the travel bug in you, and then you.
Oh yeah,
because it's all about people watching too. People the same, but they have different things that they value. And
Europe. I went on a Europe tour, and that was a great.
So where'd you go?
We went to. It was part of LSU's a cappella choir tour. We went to Budapest, Hungary.
Ooh.
Was the first place.
It's a great jazz place. Did you know that? They love jazz. Love jazz. That's an American art form. What are you talking about?
Embrace jazz. Bring it back.
They
America.
love jazz. They
Come
give
on.
awards to American jazz artists. It's incredible. We fell in love with the place.
It is. That is just an amazing city all the way around.
Oh no.
Culturally, just so much. Just
Oh, yeah.
rich. The experiences of being outside of the country in itself, you've got to do it at some point in life. Got to. We started there. Then from there went to Vienna, Austria.
I haven't made it there. I'm getting there.
Granted, I mean, it was a choir trip, so Vienna was like a guaranteed. You have to do it.
Yes.
You have to do it. That place was wonderful. And then we ended in Prague in the Czech Republic.
I haven't made it there either. I gotta make it. I'm going to make it. October. Coming.
The infrastructure in each place was beautiful. Looking at those. Yeah. The people were just so friendly. It seemed so relaxed. It didn't seem half as busy as I was like, what is the deal here? Like everything just seemed so calm, like mellow. I don't feel on the clock like I do in America, but it was awesome. Like after all the traveling I have done, it just makes me want to see even more places.
Oh my goodness!
Just more and more. Whatever this world has to offer, let's go see it.
Oh my goodness, that's a good time. We usually do food games when I travel. Okay, because you'll say, who makes the best? I don't know, it's a game, right? Who makes the best mixed biryani? Who makes the best chicken fried steak? Who makes the best whatever? It's something to do. I tell you, you are on it. You are on the money. My thing is this. My big thing when traveling, I absolutely hate usually going to touristy attractions. So Vienna was cool. Granted, I was studying music, so there were a lot of things that we saw a lot of touristy attractions, like tourist-esque attractions. But my big thing is it. Like when I remember, all right, well, snitch on myself a little bit here. When we got there, I like to have fun. And when I say I guess you could quote unquote party guy. So we get to Budapest, and I'm the first thing we do when I hit the hotel is after I passed out because of jet lag. Okay, yes, of course.
I get up, I hit the computer, and I'm like, what night spots? What are places to do? Find a nightclub there. Place I found was not necessarily the best, and I was like, all right, I'm going about this the wrong way. walk up to someone on the street. You from here? First of all, well, the person I first spoke to didn't speak English, so I was like, sorry. Next person came to did, and I was like, all right, you're from this area? Yeah, I've been here a long time. Where would you go?
Right.
And that's become my way of doing things. When I go someplace, you're from here, correct? Where would you eat?
Yeah.
What do you do on a normal day-to-day basis?
Yeah.
That's how you experience the culture of a city.
Yes.
I don't want you to tell me about such and such who lived here. Yeah, that's nothing compared. That doesn't
Right.
tell me now.
Right.
That doesn't tell me what life is like here on a daily basis. What place is good? What is the great mom and pop spot that
Right.
that I'm not going to know about because I'm not from here?
It's not in the guidebook. No.
Yeah, they're going to tell me to go to such and such fancy restaurant because they know that chain is great everywhere. What are you going to eat? Well, yeah, this is where I go. Where do you go to dance? Oh, man, this place is really not... Embrace the people when you go someplace there. They're going to teach you the most about
Yes.
where you are. And that was my game. I went to a lot of awesome food establishments based off of that. I was like, so what's typical Hungarian food? Oh, that's this. And I'm like, no clue what you're talking about, but it sounds like interesting. Let's do it. All right, well, just go around the block there. Thank you. Went in. Gorged myself. Oh, it was delicious.
Oh, good. And I'll tell you the story. My Budapest experience. Okay, so I'm in the summertime. And I know they do dress up a little more, but I decided to go in shorts. So we go to this restaurant early. There's an oven in the restaurant. You have room. I'm sorry, we're full. And I know it's the way I look. I'm not talking about race here. I'm talking purely about I was wearing shorts. I looked a little casual. He's up and buttoned up. Sorry.
And that's the thing. You don't. These are the customs that we don't catch instantly.
No.
I never realized how loud Americans really are. I have not been to. It's been a while since I've been to a place that's not a small town.
Right.
Where after like a certain point in the night,
like 7 p.m.
It's literally like quiet in the streets. I remember walking out of the bar in Budapest with a group. Granted, this is all 20.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Anywhere from 18 to maybe 25-year-olds coming out of this bar, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we are about to be arrested simply on how loud we are going up. Oh my God, you have so much fun. Dude is getting mad at this car. A guy gets mad at a car because there's a blinking red light. I'm like, that's an alarm. I need you to walk, sir, and I need you to keep your voice down. I'm so sorry, Isaiah. Well, your voice. People are sleeping. It is 5 a.m., okay? You can't be this way, okay? This can't happen. Just how, again, relaxed. 5 a.m., traffic starts to build up incredibly here. Things are in motion.
Right.
I don't think I remember seeing many cars until about 7. I was like, what is going on? Like, is everyone late for work here? Like, it's ridiculous.
Oh, dear. No, I think we need to embrace those differences and appreciate those. And that's what I think travel gives us.
Yeah.
Now, I have to admit, I don't embrace as much as you do. I'm very cautious, okay? I'm a chicken. So, yeah. And everyone, and I noticed that, too. There's I think it's the Cooper Institute, the Heart Institutes in Dallas. They do their own tours. But their big thing is everyone must exercise at your own level. You don't have to do a marathon, but you need to do some exercise. But I do find that everyone has their own centering techniques when they travel. There was a guy, I guess, big into fractals, and in his contract, you do some speeches for us. Yes, I have to have a quart of yogurt at 9 and at 2 with a spoon. Yeah, okay, fine, whatever. Sign the contract, fine. So we're talking. 2 o'clock comes. I need my yogurt. We'll get some yogurt, sir. We're going to look for some. No, I need it now. He shut down. He would not do anything until we got him yogurt. So we had to run home, get a spoon, get him his yogurt, and then he was fine. But I seem they have these own centering techniques. They kind of grounds them. Like, you can do whatever you want to, but at some point, I need to watch my TV or whatever, or I need to watch, Netflix, whatever it is. But you have something that just kind of, okay, I'm good now. Okay, we can do whatever you want, but
that is super interesting. Now that makes me wonder.
Now that's right. It's my travel thing because I admit that like I said, I would not allow my son to have French fries when we go overseas. Like I said, you are not going to McDonald's.
No.
Right? Because that is no, we're not happening. We're in France. You don't go get French fries from
And it
McDonald's,
makes
right?
perfect. Now, granted,
But
there
that
are
is how he grounded himself.
right.
Yes.
And now there are some things I won't lie that like intrigued me. I remember being, I think this was in Czech. We were walking again from a club.
Right.
Yeah, sorry guys, it's just my guilty pleasure. There, I was like, yeah, I'm dancing my tail off. We walk out, and I'm like, holy snap, that is a KFC that is open at 2:30 in the morning. I was like, I think they're onto something here, guys. And I was like, I know I told myself I'm not eating at a regular, fast food establishment while I'm here, but that KFC looks delicious, and they had. The menu was completely different. That was the only reason I didn't eat.
Yeah.
I should have ate there.
Right.
But when I got, I was like, I don't see what I'm looking for. And that's a problem. I'm looking for that 16-piece bucket that I can just carry up the block right now and make my stomach feel so much better and settle this alcohol a little bit. But,
They may have vegetarian fare,
Right. But I'll tell you, my ground, I think I do know what my grounding is.
Yes.
My grounding is, would probably be, it's either going to be music,
Yes.
or it's always going to be breakfast. Breakfast is the one thing that I don't seem to venture out too much on.
Really?
Yeah, like I
You like
may,
a certain kind of breakfast?
there are certain things that I just have to, that remind me of home, I think, and that's what
Right.
I always grab. Like, for instance, there's a certain, like, eggs, and if there's a biscuit and gravy thing, I'm definitely going to grab it.
Right.
No matter, like now I may add a couple things. Oh, I've never had a crepe. Okay, I might add that. But my breakfast plate is usually the one plate that looks most like something I would have
Yes.
anywhere else.
Absolutely.
So it's just like, and at the end of the day, like, even if I'm listening to lots of cultural music from the area,
Right.
by the end of the day, I'm going to at least tune myself back in with some of my favorites. But I will try. I will say this is a little quirk of mine. I will try and, like, at the end of the day, oftentimes, either at home or traveling,
Right.
I'll try and find a song to play for myself that fits how that day went,
Sure.
or describes
Absolutely.
in some regard.
Get down and stay down music.
Right. So it's like, I mean, if that day was very mellow, but there was like a lot of stuff going on,
Yeah.
I might find an instrumental song or something
Sure.
that's got very ominous
Yeah.
elements to it. So it's just like, so I can kind of like remember and bask
Right.
on what all happened that day.
Right.
If that day was just pure partying, like there were some nights in Budapest where it was like, yeah, I may have heard Party Rock Anthem 8 times in the club while I was there, but that song just solidified what today was for me. So, and that's how I passed out that day. So,
I'll tell you what, we gotta have to have you come back again, but we're gonna ask the question we ask everyone. If heaven exists, what do you want God to say when you get to the pearly gates?
what do I want him to say?
Or is he just gonna give you a big hug? Or is he gonna toot his horn or something? Play a practical joke on you. What is he gonna do?
What I hope he would say, I hope that he would look me in the face, eyes wide, and I'd want him to go, bruh, we need to talk about what you just did for the past blank years of your life. And I want him to have like the highlight reel ready to go. So explain.
What the hell is that?
So that we can sit there for a good couple of hours just laughing, crying. I'd love to be able to sit down, kind of like our interview right now,
Right.
and go through, almost like you're going through a photo
This is your
album.
life.
And he just be like, tell me what you were thinking. I know what you were thinking, but please, tell me thought process. Give it to me. And I'll be like, do you really want to know, sir? Do you want to know? That would be it.
Isaiah, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, my man.
Take care, man.